You might think you're Sigma because you don't have friends or people misunderstand you. But that's not what it's about. Being a Sigma is more than just a word. It's a way of life, a mindset. If you're too busy talking about how different you are or trying to prove your intelligence, you might be missing the point. Sure, you might have some Sigma traits, but having these qualities doesn't automatically make you a Sigma. While many men might aspire to be Sigma, it's not something you can force yourself to be. It's a natural way of being, and if you're forcing it, then you're not truly a Sigma. So how do you know if you're not a real Sigma? Here are 12 clear signs that might just prove you're not the Sigma man you think you are. Number 1. You feel superior to others because you think you're a Sigma. Do you think you're better than everyone else just because you see yourself as a Sigma? That's not how a real Sigma behaves. Sigma men don't think they're the best. They just do their thing, and they let others do theirs. Being a Sigma isn't about puffing your chest or looking down on others. It's not a ticket to an ego boost. If you're using the Sigma title to feel better than the guy next to you, you might be missing the whole point. True Sigma energy is about being secure in yourself, not trying to elevate yourself by putting others down. It's silently knowing your worth without needing constant validation. If you're always asserting your Sigma status to feel superior, then it's time for a reality check. The Sigma man isn't an arrogant show-off. He doesn't need to shout about his uniqueness. He just quietly goes about his business, confident in his individuality. He is humble and respectful to everyone, no matter who they are. Being a Sigma is about substance, not surface-level superiority. Number 2. You break the rules without reason or just to show off. Some guys break the rules just because they want to look cool. They think it's fun and want to show others they can do whatever they want. But this is not the mindset of a Sigma. A Sigma man knows that rules are there for a reason. They help keep things fair and safe for everyone. If he breaks a rule, it's not to show off or because he doesn't care. It's because he truly believes the rule is wrong or unfair. He doesn't make a big show about it either. He just quietly does what he thinks is right. So if you're breaking rules just to look cool or get attention, you're definitely not a Sigma. Being a rebel without a cause is not part of the Sigma mindset. The true Sigma respects rules and laws, but he's also unafraid to speak up when he believes something needs to change. He's not trying to impress anyone or draw attention to himself. He just wants to do what he feels is right, regardless of what others may think. He seeks progress, improvement, and a deeper understanding of the world around him. Number 3. You want everyone to know you're not like others. Does the thought of people not noticing how unique you are bug you? Do you find yourself always trying to prove that you're not like everyone else? If you're nodding your head, then guess what? You're probably not a Sigma. Real Sigmas just let their actions do the talking. They don't need to keep reminding people they're different or special. And it's not because they feel they aren't. It's just that they don't feel the need to prove it. Think of it like a lion in the jungle. The lion doesn't need to keep telling everyone it's the king. It just is. And everyone knows it. It's the same for Sigma. He doesn't go around saying he's different. People just know. So if you're always trying to make people see how different you are, stop. Being different is not about telling people you're different. It's about being true to yourself, even if it means going against the crowd. And if people notice, great. If not, that's fine too. As long as you're being true to yourself, that's all that matters. Number 4. You try too hard to fit in with the Sigma stereotype. If you're always trying to act a certain way because you think it's how Sigma behaves, then you're just trying too hard. Real Sigmas don't need to pretend or act. They just are. They're not trying to fit into a box or follow a script. They're just being themselves, without worrying whether it matches some stereotype. If you constantly check if your actions align with what you think a Sigma would do, you're not grasping the core idea. Just be yourself. That's the real Sigma way, Don't worry about what others think or expect. You don't need to follow a guidebook to be a Sigma. Focus on being true to yourself and doing what feels right to you. Being a Sigma isn't about fitting into a mold. It's about breaking free from it. So let go of the need to conform or impress. Number 5. You feel misunderstood by others and blame them for not getting you. Sigma men often feel misunderstood. It's normal. But if you're always blaming others for not getting you, that doesn't sound very Sigma-like. A true Sigma knows that not everyone will understand him. And that's okay. He doesn't blame others. He just focuses on understanding himself. He knows he is different and accepts that some people might not understand his way of thinking or doing things. And that's just fine. He doesn't let it bother him or make him feel less. He knows his value and doesn't need others to get him to feel good about himself. While an alpha might try to dominate and make people understand them no matter what, a Sigma understands that not everyone needs to. It's not about forcing people to understand. It's about being confident in your own skin, regardless of how others view you. So if you constantly blame others for not getting you, then you don't have a Sigma mindset. Number 6. You constantly feel the need to prove yourself and your intelligence. Sigma men don't need to show off how smart they are. They're totally at ease with themselves, not bothered by any feelings of inadequacy. Feeling the constant urge to prove your intelligence is like trying to fill a leaky bucket. No matter how much you pour in, it's never enough. But intelligence isn't something you have to show off like a trophy. It's not about winning a never-ending competition, but understanding, connecting the dots, and using that knowledge wisely. As the saying goes, empty vessels make the most noise. Sigma men don't need a megaphone to announce their intellect. They let their actions speak. If you find yourself overcompensating, drowning conversations with your achievements, take a step back. Are you genuinely sharing knowledge, or are you desperately seeking validation? Being a Sigma man means embracing the quiet confidence of knowing, rather than the noisy desperation of proving. Number 7. You pay too much attention to what others are doing and compare yourself to them. Constantly comparing yourself to others and measuring your worth against theirs is a clear sign that you might be losing that Sigma aura. Real Sigma men don't waste precious energy trying to outdo others. While there may be a sense of friendly competition, it's not the driving force behind their actions. Their strength comes from within, not from outshining someone else. When you're too focused on what others are doing, you're basically handing over control of your life to their choices and achievements. It's like running a race on a completely different track. The Sigma path is about shaping your own destiny, not keeping tabs on others. When you're too wrapped up in the lives of others, you become a spectator in your own story. Sigma men don't play that game. Number 8. You can't handle being alone. If the idea of flying solo gives you anxiety, then you're definitely not a Sigma. Sigma men actually enjoy spending time alone. It gives them the space and freedom to explore their thoughts, ideas, and interests without any distractions. They don't fear the quiet. They embrace it. But if you're the type who clings to company like a security blanket, always needing others to validate your existence, maybe hold off on claiming to be a Sigma. These individuals understand the power of introspection and use their alone time to recharge, reflect, and grow. When facing a crossroads in life, a Sigma seeks solitude, listens to their thoughts, and emerges with a clear path forward. But if you can't stand the silence, always craving external noise to drown out your inner thoughts, then you might need to think twice about your Sigma status. Being a Sigma doesn't mean you're antisocial or incapable of forming connections. It just means you don't rely on others for your own sense of self-worth and fulfillment. Number 9. You refuse to admit when you're wrong and always have to be right. Being the captain who recognizes when the winds change doesn't make you weak but adaptable. Sigma men embrace the ever-evolving seas, adjusting their sails when necessary. That's wisdom. Picture yourself in a heated debate, holding onto your position even when the facts are pointing elsewhere. That's not strength but stubbornness. Sigma men aren't afraid to admit when they're wrong. They dislike getting stuck. Those moments when your ego hinders you from admitting a mistake are like being trapped in a self-made prison, convincing yourself that being right is the only way out. But true strength lies in selective vulnerability, in the ability to say, "I messed up, and I'm ready to make things right." Number 10. You talk down to others and belittle them for not thinking like you do. It feels good to flex intellectual muscles, to make others feel smaller for not being on your mental wavelength. But talking down to others doesn't make you a Sigma. It makes you a bully. Sigmas are secure in their intelligence and humble in their wisdom. They don't need to diminish others to feel validated. A world where everyone thought the same would be a pretty dull place. Being a Sigma man means recognizing the value in different viewpoints, not steamrolling over them. The need to belittle others often stems from insecurities. It's a defense mechanism, a way to mask uncertainty. But true Sigma strength comes from acknowledging your own imperfections, not by magnifying the flaws you perceive in others. Number 11. You can't handle criticism or feedback. Taking every suggestion as a personal attack is a major red flag, not something a Sigma would do. These men aren't afraid to be a work in progress. They actually embrace it. But if your go-to reaction is snapping back when someone offers some wisdom, it might be time to reconsider that lone wolf persona you're holding onto. A Sigma man understands that growth often comes from those uncomfortable moments when someone calls you out. It's not a threat, but a chance to sharpen your edges. Dealing with criticism is a bit like lifting weights. The more you can handle, the stronger you become. A Sigma isn't afraid of a little weight. He welcomes it. He doesn't obsess over always being right. He focuses more on evolving, learning, and becoming a force. Number 12. You care too much about how others perceive you. We all want a bit of respect, but there's a thin line between having self-respect and living life, like it's an award-winning performance. Sigma men don't put on a show. They're not influenced by the applause or the criticism from others. So if you constantly seek the audience's approval and adjust your actions to please them, you're definitely not in Sigma territory. Ask yourself if you're living for the applause or for your true self. For Sigma men, the only critic that truly matters is the one in the mirror. This means staying true to yourself, even if it means standing alone. Caring too much about what others think puts you in a self-imposed prison. You become a puppet, dancing to meet their expectations, trapped by the need for acceptance. The Sigma defines his worth and measures it internally, never by the applause or criticism of others.